Hey, thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first and listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. Do us a favor, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the bell for notifications, and participate in the conversation by commenting down below or upvoting the video. I'm here with Tom Vanderford. He does a weekly segment on the show, although he didn't do it last week, but last week we were pretty busy, so that may have been my mistake. How you doing, Tom?
Hey, doing fine, man. Yeah, you guys had a little storm that day, so we can
That's
overlook
right.
that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, every time, like Thursday mornings, we tend to always have storms down here during hurricane season, but maybe it's done because it's actually pretty nice outside. I think is it fairly cool in North Mississippi?
Oh yeah. It was 25 this morning driving to work. Yeah,
Ooh,
nice and chilly.
yeah, it's 81 right now where I am.
Oh
Um,
man.
Yeah, and I have already had my email in because I think we are going to go to the Citrus Bowl. That's that. If you wanted me to put money on where we go, I would say the Citrus Bowl. So I already have the email out to them about potentially advertising on the show and all of that stuff for the
Oh,
time
good
being.
deal. Good deal.
Yeah,
Maybe you can scoop you a press pass for
yeah.
that one.
I'm going to try to be credentialed. I'm going to make shirts. I have a couple of designs that just says like usually right and stuff like that intended to just to aggravate people. But I'm going to
Oh
do
yeah.
that and go, whether it's the ReliaQuest Bowl or the Citrus Bowl, I'm going to one of those. Heck, if we go to the Orange Bowl, I'll probably go down there for a day.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
it should be pretty good. So, before we move on to the game, where, as you can see below, Ole Miss is a 3-point favorite over Arkansas, let's talk a little bit about the Bama game because there's not been many games in Vaught Hemingway Stadium that I've heard like that. That is props to the crowd, props to Lane Kiffin for what he's building. Really, it was good all the way around, and the only thing that could have changed to make that just a perfect day is a catch on that last play, I think.
Yeah, Mingo catches that ball, and it's totally different.
Mm.
Um, I'll be honest with you. I was impressed with our defense. I thought they played their best game of the year against probably the best quarterback in college football.
Yeah, he's
I,
special.
yep, he is. Uh, I can't not say this. I'm really displeased with the officiating.
Yeah.
Uh, but I've watched a lot of Alabama Ole Miss games, and I've seen a lot of funky calls. But this was the worst one I think I'd ever seen. But the kids gave it their all. Jackson Dart, showed me that he's as tough as Matt Corral.
Mm.
He did. He got beat up on and yanked on and thrown around, and he didn't whine or cry. He just got up, brushed it off, and said, "Let's go, bruh." So the future looks bright with him and Quinshawn, and it, it, it's just we're gonna have to. And I'm glad our NIL collective is, I think, over 4,000 people now.
Mm.
We're gonna need all the money we can get to keep Quinshawn and other people like that at Ole Miss, because I guarantee you Auburn and these other folks are going to come after him. Of course, Twitter's not the truth teller, but I saw one today where a guy says, "Yeah, Lane's coming to Auburn. He's bringing Dart and Judkins with him." And I'm like, "Oh, here it comes."
Yeah.
I feel so sorry for those folks because he's not going. He's got something that he's working on at Ole Miss. And
Mm.
I think he stays until he gets it done.
Yeah, honestly, I think Auburn hires Cadillac Williams. I think Cadillac gets the job. I think they're about to Matt Luke this.
I hope they do.
Hmm.
I hope they do.
Well,
He,
no matter who they hire, it's
that
not
I
going to be
think that
viewed as a successful search.
yeah. Well, I think they. God bless them. I know they got a lot of money. I know they do. I know it. I hear it all the time. But they're already paying two head coaches and staffs and ads and everybody else, and then NIL. I mean, you can run out of Yellowwood ain't got all the money in the world. eventually you're going to run out of money. So if they go on the cheap and get Cadillac and then give him a stud offensive coordinator and a stud defensive coordinator, kind of like what Arkansas did.
Hmm.
They went out and got a position coach at Georgia and got a really good defensive coordinator and a good offensive coordinator. That may be their plan. I don't know. But I assume that they've probably been turned down by everybody who is somebody. Nobody wants to get in that mess. I mean, you've got their last two head coaches that won national championships got fired.
Hmm. Yeah.
You know,
you want to hear what my prediction is for the Auburn job? What is actually going to happen? I think Cadillac Williams is going to end up getting the head job. I think they're going to beat Western Kentucky, and then they're going to play Alabama close enough that it's going to create the swell to where we should just hire Cadillac, especially after Lane Kiffin tells them no. And then they're going to get Kendall Browse as offensive coordinator and Kevin Steele as defensive coordinator.
I can see that for sure, especially Kevin Steele,
because
Yellowwood loves him some Kevin Steele.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
so
they're going to try and recruit and turn their way out of this, and it's going to look similar to 2017, 2018, and 2019 at Ole Miss. Because Auburn, all of a sudden, they look in the mirror and they see Alabama. But everybody else looks at Auburn and they see Arkansas. So they need to, first step to any situation is know who you are. If you don't know you, you're not going to be able to get the best version of you. And right now they do not know who they are. And in the NIL and the college landscapes, everything has changed. They're going to end up offering Lane Kiffin an $11, $12 million deal. I don't even know if Lane Kiffin would take that, because at a certain point, once a college coach makes a ton of money, let's say over $3 million, it all becomes diminishing returns at that point. It's all about status and building it up. So you're not going to leave one place where you can get $10 for another place or $10 million where you can go to another place and get $12 million. It just doesn't work that way, because once you're wealthy, you have more than enough money to do anything anyway. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, Auburn has had money, but they've had money for the last 10 years. They've had booster problems for the last 10 years. And you can talk about, hey, we've got all this money now, which they already had. The boosters are not going to get involved, which they always do and have for the last 20 years. And all these problems, they're like, no. It's almost like a battered woman where the husband says, no. I was wrong to do that. I will not do that again. I'm sorry. And then he does it again. And it happens over and over and over again. Yep. And sometimes you just realize that husband's toxic.
Yeah, I can still remember the Petrino Tuberville stuff,
you know. That's plain gig.
They've been doing it. They've been doing it forever. They've been doing it forever, and they're not going to change.
No.
And I honestly think that Lane, if this was Lane at Tennessee, I say he might go. But this is mature, been around the block, seen a few things Lane. Yeah. He knows he has complete control of his program at Ole Miss. He knows his AD backs him 100% at Ole Miss. He knows that the alumni and the fans are doing whatever they can to get this NIL going strong.
Mm-hmm. He's about to make $10 million a year.
People forget that we have put off the Capitol campaign to tear down the home side of the stadium and replace it. I don't know this for a fact. I just know it's true that a lot of that money that may have been earmarked for that, the folks may be saying, hey, I want to give this to NIL.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that we're in good shape there. And we've been Ole Miss fans forever. And I'm going to segue into Arkansas real quick. It's supposed to be colder than a well digger's bottom in Arkansas. It's a night game. Mm-hmm. We know what our normal outcome is when we go into Fayetteville when it's cold. Uh, there's just something different about this team.
Well, I can tell you what's different. You want to know what's different about this team? We've been a pass-happy team for a good portion since Houston Nutt beat them up in Fayetteville at night in 2008. We've been a passing team. And passing teams in cold weather, your passing offense is going to get less and less. The warmer it is, the better of a passing offense you can have. We're not a passing team this year. We're
No,
Quinshon
we're
Judkins.
pound,
Yeah,
baby.
we're ground and pound. We don't care if it gets cold. You've got guys that are going to go out and just absolutely play and hammer and be physical monsters. This Ole Miss Arkansas game Saturday could be 2 hours and 45 minutes long. Just both teams just hammering the ball. Now, the question that I have, which KJ Jefferson are we going to get? The injured version or the healthy version, or whichever level in between? Because the healthy version, Arkansas could make a game of it. The injured version, Arkansas doesn't have a chance.
I hate to say this because I don't wish harm on anybody, but I hope he's a gimpy. I hope he's a little limpy and gimpy because KJ Jefferson is from North Panola.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? He's going to play in this game, and he's going to do the best that he can to beat Ole Miss. I guarantee you it broke his heart that he couldn't play at Mississippi State.
Yeah.
He
whenever he goes home, he plays.
That's right, and he wants to play hard. So, personally, I think he's been injured on and off this season, and I may be wrong. But he doesn't have a Burks this year, and if our defense, it's hard for a team to get up twice in a row. You don't want Alabama to beat you twice. But if our defense plays like they did against Alabama, Quinshon Judkins totes the rock like he has all year, maybe we'll even get lucky and Zach Evans will pass concussion protocol. But I am telling you right now, I feel really good about Saturday. I do. I really do. I think we have a really good shot at winning our next two. The Egg Bowl's gonna be Booger Bear, but
it always is.
We're at home.
Yeah.
We're at home, and I think we got a lot more talent than they do, so we'll have to find out.
Yeah, and we have to look at it, but we were just talking about cold weather affecting the passing game. We have to see what that is for Thanksgiving because
exactly. And at the beginning of the year, we were talking, and if I remember correctly, I've been through a lot since then, but if I remember correctly, I said our floor was 5 wins and our ceiling was 9. I may be wrong. Our ceiling may be 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would love for us to end up in the Citrus Bowl, Capital One Bowl, whatever they call it now.
It's the Citrus Bowl again. It is the Citrus Bowl again.
Okay, good deal.
Because Capital One is now sponsoring the Orange Bowl, I think. That's the reason for that.
I want you to think about this. You've been an Ole Miss fan for your whole life like I have. First year he's there, after a losing record, he takes us to the Outback Bowl. We've never been. He takes us to that. Second year he's there, we go to Sugar Bowl. That doesn't happen every day. Third year, we end up going to the Citrus Bowl in a rebuilding year.
Over half the roster is new.
Yes. Hands down, the best head coach in Ole Miss history in my lifetime, anyway.
Yeah, and also Ole Miss will probably be the favorite for the SEC West next year.
Oh, I completely agree with that.
Because
we're going to be loaded.
And Bryce Young is leaving.
Oh, right.
Now, granted, Ole Miss plays
Daniels,
at Georgia.
What's to say he's not going to split?
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels down at LSU, he's a junior. He can split too.
Yeah, and he might decide it's time to go pro.
Yep.
But the odds-on favorite to win the SEC West should be Ole Miss next year.
I completely agree.
And this is something we haven't seen. This is what Lane Kiffin has built at Ole Miss. What we are witnessing right now, and what people don't realize, like if you weren't around for way back in the 50s and all that, we're in about 1956. Whenever you're building, you're winning 7, 8, 9 games and going to different bowl games, but the 59, 60, 61, and 62, that's starting to become visible. And they're starting to recruit that way. So just understand exactly where we are right now. People don't understand that. They're like, Ole Miss is always going to be an also-ran and all that because they need boxes to put people in. And then putting Ole Miss in an also-ran box makes them feel better. But they don't realize that Hugh Freeze changed his program. Ole Miss fundamentally changed in 2014 when they went to an access bowl, to the point where probation did not even slow us down. That's the amazing thing. It did not slow us down. The first year that we were back to normal was 2020, Lane Kiffin, and all of a sudden this is right back going again. So the ceiling of this place, honestly, is a national championship. I never thought I would have said that 10 years ago, but that is the ceiling of this school.
I agree.
The floor also, the 4 or 5 wins is probably the floor. But that's most places. But that ceiling being where it is and people understanding that, and also we don't have the shackles of a blue blood attached to the program. There's so much more freedom allowed for a coach at Ole Miss.
Exactly.
And you don't understand the positives that are going on here, especially now that they can pay $9-10 million a year to a head football coach. This is just a new day in Oxford, guys.
Years ago, when they hired Nick Saban and they had him for a few years, he won his first national championship, and I think they were paying him $5-6 million a year. And somebody at work said, "Can you believe he's making that much?" I said, "He's worth every penny. He's worth more than that." And that's what I feel about Lane Kiffin. If we pay him 10 or 11 million, it's worth every penny.
Yeah, it's worth. You could honestly, if you're talking about a value proposition, it would be worth it to pay Lane Kiffin $15 million.
Oh yeah,
because of the ancillary benefits that he brings into the school.
Exactly. He's a national name. He's hot. Every time you check Twitter, he's the #1 coach in America that people interact with on Twitter. You know, he gets it. He's and you know what I love the most about him? That press conference after the game where he said, "I don't give up about any of this stuff. We did not win the game. We're here to win the game." Man, I've been wanting to hear that my whole life.
Yeah, it's culture building, man. It's doing everything the right way. It's amazing what he's doing. And I'm sure that Ole Miss understands what they have in him. And they're going to do whatever they can. Yeah. To keep him here as long as possible. And I don't think Lane Kiffin is here for more than 4 or 5 years. I think the NFL is his ultimate stop. But for the time being, I'm going to enjoy every minute, every game that he is here, because the next coach is all of a sudden going to inherit an LSU-like program as opposed to a Mississippi State-like program.
That's right. And
we'll
be able to go out and that
is what Lane Kiffin did.
And we'll be able to go out and get a Brian Kelly type, a Notre Dame guy that wants to win or whoever. We'll be able to go get that coach and spend that money because they'll know that they've got a friendly administration, a friendly fan base, and we can pay them good money. So there's no reason not to. Just as long as we don't hire Jimbo, I'll be fine.
Oh, yeah. I think Jimbo's done.
I absolutely love that Ross Bjork made that extension deal with him because Ross bent Ole Miss over in the NCAA investigation to save his own hide. And karma, buddy. Karma.
Okay, by the way, and this is something I'm going to put out on this podcast, and whether or not you're listening or not to it, if for some reason the SEC is loud and they facilitate for Lane Kiffin to make an intra-conference move to another school, I don't care if it's Auburn, it could be LSU, it could be an A&M. Ole Miss needs to hire Hugh Freeze back. and just throw double birds in the air and say, let's go. Because
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
we tried to be a
Yep.
good soldier, and no, at that point, bring
Yep.
him back, give him what he needs. It's all legal
Yep.
now, and go.
Exactly. Exactly. It's just like, listen, we went through our probation for nickel and dime stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They had Auburn red-handed with Cam Newton.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn, this is a well-known fact, their lawyer group and their AD staff flew up to Indianapolis, sat at the table with the NCAA, looked across the table, and said, prove it, and then got up and walked out. Nothing ever happened.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just got to, and listen, the NCAA don't have the teeth they used to either.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're losing power every minute of every day.
Yeah. But if they allow the move to go interconference, inside the conference, like I said, whether Auburn, A&M, or anybody, Ole Miss needs to just throw up double birds and go get Hugh Freeze. Just period.
I completely agree.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, pay him $10 million.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no problem.
And tell him
no problem
right in the contract. Yeah, right into the contract to get a burner phone.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'll buy the burner phone.
Yeah, seriously, it's like get Mint Mobile. I mean, Ron Reynolds is always on TV talking about that.
Exactly.
Anyway, thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen today. For your second listen today, check out Locked On Sports Today. From the games that matter the most to the biggest stories in sports, go beyond the scoreboard and behind the scenes with local experts and insights only Locked On can provide. It's Locked On Sports Today. It's available on this app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Tom, thank you very much for stopping by today. We went for a little bit, but it was pretty great, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate it.
All right. Talk to you later.
Yep. Hotty toddy.
Hotty toddy.